Welcome to SEO.
Oh my God, I can't even continue after this. I'm going to make a conspiracy.com.
.com.
So, welcome to SEOconspiracy.com. If we're starting, it's not G Spot SEO. This is Monday's myth busting with Judith Lewis. And today we are talking about the biggest of them all, domain authority. We've talked about it many, many times, and we will talk about it until the end of time because it will probably never die.
No. I think domain authority is what stupid people think that the Google algorithm is based on. But domain authority is something that Moz made up. They did not invent the Google algorithm. They tried to understand it and to give a metric to that understanding. And so domain authority is nothing more than what Moz made up, thinking that they might know something about how Google maybe does a little bit of something that it does. And it gave a number for bloggers to sell their blogs based on. So a lot of bloggers will say, ooh, my site is a DA30 or my site is a DA44. So I'm charging £2,000 for a blog post or €3,000 for a blog post on a DA50. It's bullshit because we know how to reverse engineer DA, and that's not how Google is running. That's not how Google works. And it's gotten so bad that a Google engineer actually had to put in his bio, in his Twitter bio, Google does not use domain authority. I mean, that's bad.
Well, first of all, what makes no sense is let's start. I'm not an engineer, but what I know for a fact is that Google interprets the web page by page, URL by URL. Like actually, a website is just a bunch of pages linked together. Okay, that's it. So I don't know if they are just analyzing the KPI of the homepage, those SEO tools, because
Yeah.
that's also the thing. They don't share. There's no scientific basis, no scientific documents, no scientific study, no nothing to back this up.
Yep.
So number one, the page works. The web works URL by URL. Google interprets the web URL by URL.
Mm-hmm.
The homepage is just a page.
Yep.
That's fact number one. Fact number two, it's this secret sauce of magic SEOs that have no basis of when you do a scientific. I mean, you have patents, you have scientific documents, you have stuff like that. No, it just pops
They've
up.
just made it up.
Yeah.
One of the ways that bloggers used to inflate their DA is that Moz, not Google, Moz was counting the backlinks gained from comments. No follow comments, spam comments, it didn't matter. Your domain authority would go up based on the number of comments in another blog. So if you had a blog and you went off and you just bought a bunch of spam comments, your domain authority on Moz suddenly shot up. Not your rankings on Google, not your visibility, nothing that's actually of any value whatsoever. You just went up in domain authority. And that, if you're trying to sell a blog post to a client, that helps you a lot. But that doesn't help the client because the client's getting no additional value or visibility. And your blog, as a blogger, you don't get more traffic just because you do a bunch of spammy links in some spammy comments. And yes, I have done some experimentation. And yes, some, not all, some of the experiments where I bought a bunch of comment spam did work. They did increase the keyword rankings for some of the keywords while those comments were live and on the first page of that site. But that does not mean that it's a actual Google ranking factor that lasts, because it doesn't last. It only lasts while the comment is on the homepage, and then every other frickin' spammer out there finds it and duplicates it. So really, boosting your domain authority is easy. Boosting your Google search results, not so much.
Let's go beyond that, because it's and I have in my head a
Ooh.
post by Moz where it was not Rand Fishkin, it was the other one. I forgot his name. Greg something. He trapped John Mueller. He got him to say, and if I remember correctly, John said, yes, we do have signals that kind of want to do something like that. Okay?
Mm.
So, of course, Google wants to know about authority, about trust, about all those stuff.
Yep.
Except it has nothing to do with those scores and those tools. It was definitely like the way he trapped John was totally wrong. Like, if I was John, I would have gotten the thing like removed, because it was turned in a way that,
Mm.
like John was saying, yeah, there is something about. So first of all,
It's something that Moz sells on, though. Moz maintains its authority in the marketplace as relevant on the back of domain authority being mistakenly assumed by too many people to be a valid ranking element. So people think that if they improve their DA, they'll improve ranking. And that's what's keeping Moz relevant and visible.
if it was only Moz, all the link sellers, all the everybody is using DA as a reference point. Problem is, my advice, if you want to use those tools, because why not? Why not have Moz or SEMrush or whomever build some kind of KPI that makes it easier for you to scale the power of that page, but
Mm.
use it on a page level.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah, exactly.
URL, page level. Analyze a page. Then, if you like that score, good for you. Use it. But for a page, not for a domain.
Yeah, exactly.
On the other hand, we have a good old majestic.com with a citation flow, which is the exact formula of the PageRank, and the topic of trust flow, which is the exact formula of the topic of PageRank.
Yeah.
Or topic satisfying PageRank. So now I feel like going back 15 years ago, because people tell me, yeah, but we can manipulate it. Like we couldn't manipulate PageRank, okay?
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's what we were doing. We weren't specifically manipulating PageRank. We were manipulating signals that ended up being iterated in the form of PageRank. So we were manipulating signals in order to get better ranking, and we were looking for the better ranking, but it was demonstrated to us that we had improved these signals through PageRank. So DA captures some of the signals that Google is looking at, but only a tiny fraction of what Google is looking at overall. So when I buy links, I don't buy links off of people with good DA. I buy links off of people that have the right audience, that are ranking for the right keywords, and I don't even buy the link. I compensate them for their time researching, writing, and editing an article that's compelling, that will make people want to click through on the link. Because if you do something like I've had bloggers in my network where it's their first time in the network, I tell them very specifically, you have to write a compelling piece of content. It has to be based on your own experiences. You must research, you must editorialize. There needs to be some way, you have to make it compelling. There needs to be a reason why someone would click the link to the client. You can't just shove the link in there. There has to be a reason. And you are responsible for making it compelling. And they don't do that. They're like, well, my DA is 50, so I'll just chuck this invisible link that no one would know to click unless they looked at the source code in there and get paid. That's not how it works, children. The reason you have a good DA and I'm paying you to put an article up there is because you have the audience I want. I don't just want the link.
Let's take an example. Let's take Forbes.com, which
Mm,
probably has a DA of 80 of 100, or I don't know, huge. Okay, it's fucking
yeah,
Forbes. Then pretty much anybody can become an author or buy a link on Forbes.com.
exactly.
However, let's imagine that link, you have a page where you have a link, but that
Mhm.
page, so the URL is forbes.com slash whatever, but that page has no links from the domain Forbes and no backlinks. It's alone by itself on the internet. Now please show me how much power Forbes.com is going to give to that page, which
Exactly.
has no links from Forbes and no links from nowhere else.
Yep.
If domain authority existed, then it would do something, right? And
Yep.
test it
And
by
it does.
yourself if you don't believe me. Do that, okay? And wait, and wait. Wait for 3 months, wait for 4 months, wait for 3 years, and see. Because usually, I mean, it's basic, right? Especially links like Forbes, if you do it right, meaning if the link from Forbes has some backlinks and some internal links, it's going to do something, meaning you get the link, you rank up.
Exactly.
But my example of my lonely page, call me,
You're
call me if it does something.
Yeah, seriously, call all of us if it does something because that's not the way the internet works. And I think Google's reasonable surfer model was a really good way of changing how people look at links on a page. Because if the link is at the bottom and no one can tell it's a link, who the hell's going to click it? Why should Google give it any value? Under the random surfer model, yeah, it would get value because it was on the page. But now it doesn't. So if I'm going off and buying a link, I want the link to be clickable. And your domain
Mm.
authority is just a made up, manufactured, fake metric that Moz created in order to sell a product, and that product is its software. It does not have any impact on your Google rankings, and therefore it doesn't impact me when I'm buying a link.
Let me translate what you just said, because the random surfer is how Googlebot was going on a page and randomly picking links here and
Each link
there.
has the same weight,
It's a
no matter where.
it's a statistical thing, algorithmic. It can't just visit everything. And then that was the random surfer. Then the reasonable surfer was able to say, okay, this is a link in the footer, this is a link in the header, in the body of content. It
Yeah,
became a little smarter in the way it would pick the link and it would attribute weight to it, meaning a footer link is a lot less powerful than the link at top of the body. If you know how the topic sensitive PageRank works, which you can see in the TTF of Majestic, because there's also that we are going a little bit outside of the topic, but we
it's
only
around
14
the
minutes
same
in.
point.
But the smell of the backlinks, regardless of the content, okay, regardless of the content of your site, if the links are conditioned by the links, okay? Content doesn't matter, but who is linking to who, and that smell of the backlink has an impact. You remember my story, how I remember that you were going into some boring like yoga example or something, and I came on with my cucumber and how I can turn a gardening website into a porn site
Yep.
with a common entity called a cucumber that you can without accessing the website, just with backlinks.
Yeah.
Cucumber in porn, cucumber in gardening. Build some links around this common entity, and you will make the topicality of that gardening website switch.
Yes. But it has to be aligned like that. You couldn't do that with a non-gardening website or a website that didn't have anything on cucumbers.
Exactly. It needs to have common entities.
So watch out, all you aubergine growers. Sometimes a girl likes a grower, not a shower, but we always like to make sure we're getting what we're paying for.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, you have to watch the G-Spot SEO series with Judith Lewis coming up soon on SEO Conspiracy. Don't worry, you won't be disappointed. This is light. I'm holding out because we have time constraint, 16 minutes. So let's go a little more into this to end up to conclude on this domain authority myth. It will live forever because it's sexy, because it's appealing, because it's practical. It's simple.
Yeah.
Just again,
and people are selling it.
Yeah.
And that's the key. It's simple. It's a number, which is a metric, something that can be measured against other things, and it's therefore saleable. So people are using it as a way of selling their links on their site. They're using it as a way of selling their SEO services, and it's a sales tool. But I can buy my way to the top of DA if I want to, in the same way as I can buy as much organic traffic as you'd like me to fake. I can fake anything. Orgasms, traffic, links, it doesn't matter. We can fake it. So you've always got to be careful to use the right tool to measure the right thing.
So what do? What you have to do is, okay, you get that person sending you a list on an Excel spreadsheet on LinkedIn about all those wonderful DA domains on sale. Now ask, okay, give me the page where my link will be.
Yep.
And how, if it exists, give me that DA or that or use the CF citation flow or trust flow for Majestic, even if the database is a little bit shaky right now, and even if it's just a metric, it's just an idea. Okay, it gives you more or less type of thing if it's more or less important. But then if that page doesn't exist, then ask, okay, what's link the link? What's next? What's coming up next? Link the link is the number one, like SEO, like link building 101. If you don't link the link, it won't do anything.
Yeah. And that's why we build PBNs, is we have to throw links at a link in order for it to give us any value. It's much more complex than people think to increase the value of a linked page, of a page that's linking to your site. You don't just throw the link up there. There also has to be a lot of other factors that go into that. It's not as simple as DA. It's almost not as simple as page authority. I do like Majestic's, but Majestic's number is always lower than Moz.
Yeah.
And because Moz is the higher number, that's what people use. If Majestic's numbers had been higher, people would have eventually switched across to Majestic. But Moz's were higher, so they looked sexier. So people keep using domain authority for Moz when actually all it is a bit of smoke and mirrors to put a number on something measurable, but it has no impact whatsoever on Google's ranking.
All the tools have it. SEMrush has one, Ahrefs has one. They all have some kind of domain authority.
Like score on or a score or something. It's got something to do with asses.
Just don't get full. Don't spend your money on DA because you are not paying. You're not buying what you are paying for. Okay,
Yeah.
It's just not the way it works. And if you start reasoning, if your thinking starts from the page level instead of and if you start understanding that the homepage is just a page, period, it just has a lot of page rank because usually most of the backlinks are pointing to it, period.
Exactly.
However, it doesn't mean that there aren't any signals linked to authority or trust or all those good stuff, which is the topic of next week. Social signals as a ranking factor.
Ooh, that'll stir some controversy.
What's up with that? Do if I get more what is it on Facebook? Is it likes? Yeah, you like on Facebook. If I get more likes on Facebook, do I increase my ranking?
Tune
Knowing,
in next week to find out.
until next time, we'll have a sexy goodbye by Judith. So I'll let her finish this one.
So until next time, people, remember to tune back in to SEO conspiracy.com.
Oh my God. Goodbye.